Welcome to the channel, or if you're new, thank you for clicking. My name's Craig, and on behalf of eXtremeRate, today I'm going to be showing you how you install the transparent clear case for the DualSense. Now, it's not just going to be the case, it's going to be the front buttons, the thumbsticks and the triggers, so we're going to be changing pretty much everything. Now, before I do start the video, a couple of things that you will need. This is only if you're going to change the trackpad. You're going to need either an old credit card or something like that. A plug is what I'm using. You're going to need some tweezers and a heat gun or a hairdryer. Personally, I'd recommend using a normal hairdryer because a heat gun might give off too much heat. What that's for is the trackpad has got a board behind it and it's held on with some glue, so all you're going to do is warm this up, or heat it up I should say, and then just prise this away. The same thing I always do. I'm going to show you what you get inside the box and then we're just going to go straight to the install. So I'll move that out of the way and then we'll get inside the box, show you what you get. So that's that bit on the front, obviously the black one. You can change this, you can mix things up if you want. You can put the black one on and leave the trackpad the way it is. You can just totally mess everything up. These little things are your rings for your analogs. If you don't put these in, when you move around, the analog can get stuck because it's got to go to a certain degree when you move it. So we're going to be fitting them. We've got our transparent trackpad there, and this is the shell. Be able to show you better on this if I move that one out the way, and then if I show you behind, like I mentioned, it's transparent. And inside here you've got all your buttons for obviously your symbol buttons, your D-pad and your triggers. We've got the thumbsticks as well. Like I say, you can mix and match. If you don't want these to be transparent and you want the black ones, you can have them. You get a little prying tool, screwdriver, and you get spare screws at the bottom there, which you won't need. I've got my own screwdriver, so I'm just going to use that. And the same thing with all eXtremeRate products, you get a 1-year warranty. If you do get stuck with anything, I'll put the link in the description, but I'm always around if you want to message me and I'll try and help you out with anything you get stuck with. So I'm going to tidy all this up and then we're going to start with the install process. Now, the first thing that you want to do is remove this part of the control pad, the black part. Now, the way I like to do this is just turn it over, get your little prying tool and put it in the corner here. So I'm going to put it in the corner, and there you go, that's lifted up straight away. You can use your thumb to pull it a little bit further away. And the same with this corner, we'll just hold it like that, we'll push in and that lifts straight up. Now what you want to do is just work your way down this line. So I'm going to put it in, just come along this side, and there you go, that's off. And then to remove this, all you do is just lift it up. There you go, and then that just lifts straight over here, over the analog sticks, and the same way to put it back in. So I'm going to move this to one side. The next thing you want to do is remove L1 and R1. Now, I like to keep my finger on this button and then just put the prizing tool behind it, and I like to go from left to right, and then that releases it, and then just put this to one side. And then the same thing with this one, just keep your finger on it. The reason I'm putting my finger on is just so it doesn't fly out away somewhere. Put this under here, I'm going to twist left and then I'm going to twist right, and then that removes it. Now you've got 4 screws, you've got one here, I'll probably be better showing you with the screwdriver. You've got a one here, you've got one here, and then if I turn the pad round, you've got one there and a one over there. So I'm going to quickly remove these and then open the pad. Once you've removed all them screws, all you want to do now is just open the control pad. The way you do this, down here you've got 2 tiny little tabs. If I can show you a little bit closer, you've got one there and a one there. Now all you want to do with your prizing tool is put it on the tab like so and just lift it up a little bit, and then same with the other one, and then that's up. And then now what you want to do is just work your way along the line. So I'm going to start from this side, so that one's up, and then I'll start from this one, and then all you want to do is just crack the control pad. This will open it. Don't worry, you're not going to break anything, that's just how these open. And then just lift this over, put this to one side. The next thing is to remove the battery. Now the way I like to do this is just put my thumb in here, get a little bit of leverage, and then just lift it up. So do that, and then remove the wire, what's over here. To remove this wire, all you do is gently wiggle it and lift it up. So there we go, that's removed. The next thing is there is a little screw inside here, but first I'm going to remove this part of the ribbon cable. See there, I've just lifted that up and over. Hopefully you can see that. turn it around a little bit. And then you just want to remove this screw, what's holding the battery. Now I always like to leave the screw in there when I lift this up, so I'm just going to put this to one side with the screw still intact. The next part is to remove 4 ribbon cables. You've got a one down here, you've got one to the left, you've got one to the right, and the one on the top. Now I'm just going to be using some tweezers because I find it easier, but you can use your fingers if you want. Now down here, the little one, I'm going to remove that first. These ones you can, like I say, remove with your fingers like that. They just pull straight out, but I'm just going to use the tweezers, make things a little bit easier. There you go, that one's out, and then that one's out as well. And it's the top one that's the really hard one, this blue one. It might be green on yours, the different colours. When I've opened different pads, they've all been slightly different. So that one's out, and I'm just going to bend that ribbon cable a little bit up, just so when it comes out, it'll come out fine. The next thing to do is lift this board. Now the way you're going to lift this board is you've got 2 tiny little tabs. You've got one on the left, and you've got one on the right. So I'm just going to press them in. I'm going to press that one in, and it should lift this green board up, and there we go. And then hidden behind this board, you've got 2 silver little screws. You've got one over here and you've got one over there, so I'll quickly remove them. Once them 2 screws are removed, you've got another 2 screws. You've got one down here and a one just over there, so I'll remove them. Once them screws are removed, now you can actually take the full board out, but be careful for this ribbon cable. Just make sure it's on a right angle so it'll go straight through that hole, and then just gently lift this up, and then we'll have it. That comes apart. Now this side I'm just going to push together so that clicks in place, and I'm just going to put this to one side. Once you've got the pad looking like this, you just want to pretty much remove everything, because we're going to transfer the majority of it over to there. So I'm going to remove these. They just lift straight up, and then hold my hand there, and then all the buttons will fall out. Obviously you know which order they went in. The options and the start button, or whatever you want to call them, share button, they just come straight out. And the trackpad, if you just put your finger underneath here and just lift up, so they just lift over, and then this comes straight out like that. And where's my prizing tool? This black bit here, the way I'm going to get this is just put the prizing tool underneath it and just lift it up gently. So that corner's up, and that corner is up as well. Go back down there again, see if I can get a grip on it. There we go, that's off. And then this one here for your PS button, I'm just going to pull this off like so, and then I'm just going to push my little PS button out. And then down here to remove this, what angle am I going to get this on? Because I know these just come straight off, they just pop over just like that. So that's the way I'm going to do that. I'm just going to pull from the top, put this here, and now we're just going to remove this little bit. Now all you want to do is just push this to one side like so. See there, that one's came out, and then I'm just going to pull it through this hole, if I can get it through the hole. Oh, we're through. Just be really careful with this. If it doesn't look like it's going to come, just put it on a different angle. What's it catching on? What's it catching on? Right, I see what it's catching on. It's catching on that. There you go. And then these rings, you can just leave them in. You don't really need these ones. So now I'm going to grab the transparent front case, and I'm going to swap everything over. But first thing is to fit these. So the way these go on, you can't really get mixed up. They've just got tiny little teeth on them. Put them on, make sure the teeth are all the way around. Start from that side. and then that's in, and then same with this one. Should get the teeth lined up. Push them all the way in, just make sure they're all round. Yeah, that looks good to me. And then the buttons, if I can grab them ones, I've got me 4 little buttons there. Obviously they don't have symbols on them, so you're just gonna have to guess which way they do go. But first thing is I'm gonna put this back in, so that just pushes in there. And then I'm gonna have to, like I say, I'm gonna have to guess which way these go in. Right, so that's not that one. It's not that one. I'm gonna be here all day, aren't I? Oh, I trust it to be the last one. It is, it was the last one, I do not believe it. Yeah, that doesn't fit that one. Does it fit this one? Yep. That doesn't fit that one, so it must be the bottom one. Yep. Last but not least. There we go. So once they're all fitted, just get your little conductor bit. Just put this over, just to keep these in place, because if you turn this upside down, they'll all fall out. And then your D-pad, the way you want to put the D-pad in, on the D-pad, it's got a little tiny bit that sticks out on the bottom there. See that tiny little bit on the bottom? So that obviously goes to the bottom. So I'm going to put that in there, and then get my other little rubber conductor thing, and just put that over. Press it in the little holes. Just make sure it's lined up. Which it is. I don't know if you can see, but there's tiny little holes there on both sides, and then you just line them up. The next thing is, I'm going to move that to the side. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Is the PS button. So that PS button just goes back in there. And then we're going to put this little bit back in. So this, obviously the little holes go on the top. So if I can line that up. There we go. PlayStation buttons back in place. And then this little guy goes in here. That just presses straight in. Is that in? Yeah, that's in. And then the last one, we're going to go backwards. We're going to put this in this way through this little hole. If I get it in. Let's say just take your time. I'm gonna bend this a little bit and try again. There we go, we're in. Now the bit here on the bottom just goes under, and then that'll just push in place. Nearly had it there, nearly. There we go. And just push that a little bit more. And there we go, and that's what that should look like. Hopefully you can't see that, but that's the way that looks. The next thing is going to be the trackpad. So to remove this, just 2 screws, one here and one on the opposite side. And then once you've taken them screws out, this will just fall apart. Now keep this one over here, just keep this intact, don't let them fall out. I mean, if they do fall out, you can just put them back in, but just put these to one side. Now this is the little board that I mentioned. All you want to do is use your hairdryer on either this side or that side. It doesn't really make a difference. Keep it on for maybe just a few minutes just to warm it up, and then what you want to do is get a little prizing tool, just put it underneath, and then if it's lifting up a little bit but not fully, don't bend the board or snap it, just warm it up a little bit more and just slowly work your way across. So if you bear with us a second, I'm going to get the hairdryer on this and do it myself. I've had the hairdryer on this for a couple of minutes. Hopefully this will come off. I'm just going to work my way through one of the corners. Yeah, it's going in. And then just slowly go along. You can hear the glue. You can either use this or use something a little bit longer. I'll try it with this, it might work a little bit better. But as I mentioned at the start of the video, probably a credit card or an old gift card or something like that would work better. So there you go, that's lifted up. Just going to move this out the way. And you don't need to add any glue or anything, you can just use the same one here. So we're just going to line that up. There's 2 tiny little nipples on there, what you want to line up, and then just press that down. There we go, that's what that looks like now. But if you want, you could have just left that one on. And then the little hole here, I'm going to put this through. And then I'm just going to put them 2 screws back in. Once you fit them 2 screws, all you want to do now is just put this back into your new transparent case. Now I'm going to go under, just like that, and then I'm just going to press this down a little bit here, just to make sure that goes in place. Has that gone in? Yeah, it looks good. Now all you want to do is put your share and your options button in. If you do get these mixed up, just put them to the other side. See if I can get them in first time. Yeah, that fit. And then same with this one, just over there. And then that's all the front part done. Now what we're going to do is jump to the triggers. To remove the triggers on here, the L2 and R2, you're going to have to come to the front, and you've got 2 screws. Now I'm going to do them one at a time. I'm going to keep your finger on the back here and on the front of the board. Remove these 2 screws, and then that'll release this. Once them 2 screws out, it will have released your trigger mechanism. Now what you want to do is get your tweezers and remove this little tiny ribbon cable. That's up, and then you've got a screw what's hidden behind there. We're going to remove that screw. And then on this side we've got 3 screws. We've got one there, and one there, so I'll remove them as well. Once them screws are removed, you just want to take this cover off. That just lifts straight up. And inside here, this is your little mechanism for your haptic feedback. You just want to remove that. I'm just going to leave this cog in. You've got a little bar here that you just take out with some tweezers. You might be able to get it out with your hands actually, but I find the tweezers better. Unfortunately, I was having a little bit difficulty there. So that's your little bar what you're going to remove. And then the trigger just comes straight out just like that. Now we're going to work out which one's which, unless they're both exactly the same. Let's have a look. So these triggers, when you get them, they do come with these little pieces. So all these do is just press inside like that. So you're going to get this, and you're just going to push, and that should just clip in place. Same with this one. You can't get these mixed up because they're both exactly the same. So push that, clip it, and that's what it should look like, if you can see. And then we're going to double check to see if these are both the same. That one looks the same as that, and that one looks the same. So the triggers, I don't think you can actually get mixed. Oh, you know what, I'm gonna have to really zoom here. You've got R2 on there. Don't know how well the camera is picking that up, but you've got R2, and then on this one you've got L2. Hopefully you can't see that on the camera. Let's see if I can get a better angle. There you go, L2. So this one that I have just removed was R2. So there we go, R2. I'm going to put this one back in. I'm going to keep my finger on the cog, turn that over, and then this just goes over. We're going to get it. There you go. And then just put that little metal bar back in. Where's the bar? And then push that in. That looks good. Just press that down just to make sure that works. So the bar's in. Now this is the little tricky bit for people. So on here, on these cogs, on the very bottom, this is where it ends. That's where you want it. So I can come a little bit closer. On here, it's all flat, but this one is where the cog ends. That's where you want this little piece to go. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it in wrong. I'm going to turn that, and I'm going to put it there. So this is the wrong way. So if I push this, that goes like that, and it doesn't go all the way back. Don't know how well that's working, but I'm going to lift this up again, and then turn that round. And then on the bottom here, I'm going to put this to that. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm putting this on the very bottom one. So now when I push it, it goes all the way. All this is for your haptic feedback. And then you just want to put the case back on and put them 3 screws in. So we'll find them screws, put them back in. Once them screws are in, you just want to go to this side and put the last screw, which is that one. And then this little ribbon cable, you just want to put that back in. I'm just going to use the tweezers to put it in, so I'm just grabbing it with the tweezers there and then just pushing that back in. That's what that should look like. If you can't see that, that's just gone in there. And then just press these just to make sure they work, which they should. If they get stuck, if you're pressing and they kind of get stuck a little bit, it's because that cog, you haven't done what I says when you've got to put it on the very end one. Now this is just going to be a reverse of the way you've done it, so you're just going to put this inside here, make sure them holes line up here, and then just put the two screws back in. When them two screws are back in, just press this just to make sure it works. Now we're just going to do a repeat process on this side, so I've got to remove another two screws again. Them screws are removed, and I'm actually holding the trigger with my hand, so when I remove that, the trigger will come out. Same process on this side. The little tiny ribbon cable which is there, we're just going to remove that again. And then the little screw which is hidden behind it, going to remove that. And then over to this side, obviously the three screws that's holding the cover in place, or the case. Rather than a cover, we'll call it a case. Once them screws are removed, just remove that case again and the little cog holding mechanism, and then the metal rod, there we go, removed. And then just remove that trigger and then find your new one and replace it with it. So I'm on a little bit of a different angle here. Don't know if this is a better angle or a worse angle. I'm not really sure. Is that going in? Why is that not going in? There we go. It's in. It's in. Don't worry. We're in. And then just line that little hole up there for the bar. Where the hell's the bar gone? Right, got it. And then just push the bar in. Make sure that goes in. And then just press your trigger just to make sure that goes down. And then again, make sure that cog, which is on the bottom, you want this, the little tiny corner bit, to go inside there. And then just push that left and right just to make sure that works. And then we're just going to put the case back on and repeat with 3 screws. Once you've put them 3 screws in, just turn it over to this side and don't forget to put the last screw what goes inside there. Once that screws in, again just grab your little tweezers and just make sure you put that ribbon cable in there, make sure it's lined up. Mine just came off there. And there we go, just press that down just so it goes across. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to try and zoom so I look a little bit better, but that's what it should look like. And then back to here, just put this over here, line the screws up like that, or the holes, line the holes up, and then just put the final 2 screws back in. There's one in, and the last one. Once then both screws are in, just press this just to make sure everything's working. Now to remove these analogs, all you do is you just pop these off, but you can leave the black ones on, whatever you wish to do. So I'm just going to lift them up and lift them up. All you want to do is just line these up and just push them on. So we'll line that up and then we'll just press down. You cannot really go wrong with these. Just inside you'll see which ways they go. So that's that one, and then if I just press it down, and then that's them done. Now what you want to do is put this back on here. I'm just going to pull that ribbon cable a little bit round, and then this, I'm going to line up that hole. There we go, that cable has gone through the hole, and then we're pretty much good to go. Just press these together. Now I did notice this tiny little bit came out. The way to put that back in, if I just lift this board up, you can see there's an oblong shape there. You just want to grab this and put it back in like that. So that's what that looks like. And then if I just pull that over, now you've got these two screws here on the top, the silver one, or the silver ones I should say. I'm going to put them in. Once them two screws are in, you just want to put the other two that's holding the board down. So the one over here and the other one over here. So I'm going to quickly put them in. Once you've fitted them two screws, now all you want to do is just put the ribbon cables back on the board. Now the one that might be a little bit tricky is this one on the bottom, because it might get tucked behind your board. If it does, just lift this up and then put it back over. First off, I'm going to fit the left hand side and the right hand side. I'm not going to use tweezers, I'm just going to use my hands and hope for the best. So that one's gone straight in. See if we can get this one straight in. Is that gone in? No, it's on a little bit of an angle. So just take it out. Just take your time with these. Has that gone in that time? No. I think that's where loads of people have been going wrong with these. I don't know how well you can see, but it's flush. And then this bottom one here, just lift that over and then just press in. Now this top one is hard to get out, but it's super easy to get back in. Plus it's got a little line on it. So I'm just going to line that line up and then just press it down, and then that's back in. Just press these triggers if you want, just to make sure they work, and just double check everything's lined up, which it is. Now next thing I'm going to do is put the battery back in. Put this ribbon cable, make sure that's lifted over it. So if I just lift this up just here and then put the battery case down. Come on, battery case. There we go, that one's down. I'm going to put the screw in. Right, the screws in, and then with this all you're going to do is just go under. So if I can find the little hole where it goes in, just press it down. There we go. What was that? That was just a bit off me. Screwdrivers just fell off. Now under here, just push, take this away, and then there's a hole where it goes in, and that'll line up, and then just press it in there. And then that's what that should look like. If I can show you that on the camera, just press that button as well to make sure that all works. But yeah, that looks fine to me. Then we're going to fit the battery. I'm going to put the connector in first. So line that up, push it down, and that's in. And then that just goes underneath the little sort of cable holder thing there. And then just push your battery. And then if I find the back cover, which I've got here, you're just going to put this over and then just press it down, make sure everything looks fine, and then just press it all together, and that's what that looks like. And then what we're going to do is just put the screws back in. So if you bear with us a second, I'm just going to put all these screws back in. Obviously you've got two on the top and two on the bottom. So once you've fitted all them screws, all you want to do now is fit L1 and R1. They've actually got R1 on here, so they've got the letters on. Just line that up, press it down, and then it'll go in. Same with this side, just line it up, press it down, and just press these to make sure they work, which they do. Just move everything around just to make sure everything works. And the last piece, if I can find it, is this bit. So to fit this, all you want to do is just go down and over. So push that, push it up, clip it, and then these little bits on the corner, just lift over. And just press in, and same with this bit, just lifts over and presses in. And then just make sure everything's working. Just press your PlayStation button, and then that's how you know it all works, and that's what it looks like. Everything's looking good to me. I think it'll look really good if you fit the LED kit, because obviously it'll glow up and it'll look like a little bit of a disco. But that's what it looks like. If you do get stuck with anything or you need any help, just drop us a message and I'll get back to you.